Why has the world become so ugly? How did this happen? A video by Sheehan Quirke, watched by millions, asks this puzzling question.
Have a look at this. It's a typical modern lamppost. Do you like it? Well, it does its job, but not much else. But look over here at another lamppost. It does its job and a little bit more. It's details like these that help make this such a charming place to be. But these two lampposts don't just look different. They represent fundamentally different worldviews. If you want to understand any society, don't listen to what it says about itself. Look at what it creates.
Why did our civilization stop valuing beauty? The video leaves something important unexplained. For most of history, beauty appeared even in ordinary things. Railings, lamps, streets, buildings. The world people lived in felt deliberately made, not accidental. Not just in grand buildings, but in everyday life.
Every technology becomes obsolete and outdated. But a good aesthetic, even if fashions change, can never become obsolete. It is definitionally timeless.
Not only temples or palaces, even the small details of daily life were shaped by beauty. That raises a deeper question. Why did earlier generations care so much about beauty?
Those lampposts don't look modern to us now. They look quaint and old-fashioned. Why? Because they are decorated, and we don't associate decoration with cutting-edge technology. And that's a major difference between us and the Victorians in the 19th century. They saw no contradiction between startling modernity and time-honored tradition.
The explanation usually given is industrialisation. Those ideas certainly affected how things were made, but they did not explain why beauty stopped mattering at all. Industrial societies once produced beauty and were proud of it. Even industrial infrastructure was once designed as if it mattered.
It's an old sewage facility, a pumping station built in the 19th century as part of Bazalgette's new sewer system. Strange to think that this is infrastructure, a purely functional building with the sole purpose of managing human waste. And yet it has been designed with the same ornamental exuberance as any church or palace. Why? Well, people worked here. And why shouldn't people who work in sewers also have a beautiful place of work? That is how the Victorians thought.
The Victorians were still living within a civilization shaped by older ideas. Ideas about order and harmony in the world. And beauty was understood as an expression of that deeper pattern, something real, worth reflecting in the world people built. But gradually those ideas began to fade. Civilizations often continue their habits long after the beliefs that created them are gone. It lingered surprisingly late. The instinct to create beauty had not yet disappeared.
So this place, a sewage facility, is now a museum, a tourist destination. If you want to know what any society really believes in, just look at how they design their sewers. Just a few steps from the old 19th century Victorian pumping station, which has now been decommissioned, is the one built to replace it. It's not bad, I suppose. But it was very clearly not built by the same society.
That's the real question. What changed? Because this wasn't just a change in style. It was a change in the kind of society building these things.
But there's something else that we haven't mentioned about these lampposts. It would be easy to believe that they were made by artists and that we somehow wouldn't be able to or couldn't afford to make them anymore. But just like our modern lampposts, our air conditioning units, our everything, these were also mass-produced, made in a factory. We could still mass-produce lamps just like these if we wanted to. We can make our offices and our warehouses look like Crossness pumping station. We could make anything we want. That's the ultimate truth, the hardest one to accept. But we don't.
Modern society often explains this change in simple terms: utility, function, cost. Some of the tools are the same, some have changed. Some of the processes are the same, some are different. But that still doesn't explain it. The difference lies in the cultural values that guide how technology is used. In the modern West, those values changed because the underlying picture of reality itself had changed. For most of history, people believed the world possessed order and meaning. Beauty in the things people built and used was understood as a reflection of that deeper order. Modern culture adopted a very different image of reality, a world imagined as empty, mechanical, and indifferent to human meaning. If the world itself has no meaning, beauty becomes difficult to justify as anything more than decoration. Beauty itself is not necessarily more expensive or sufficiently expensive to make a difference. It simply stopped seeming necessary to the people designing and building things. Design slowly shifts towards utility, function, and cost alone. And over time, the world we build begins to reflect that change.
Walking around a city, any city, and looking at its buildings and its infrastructure, you're not just looking at objects. You're looking at religions and principles, beliefs and ideas. These buildings, they don't just look different. They represent fundamentally different worldviews, clashing ideas about how we should all think, live and behave.
The modern West did not simply lose beauty. It stopped knowing why beauty mattered. It lost the vision of the world that once made beauty meaningful and important. Because the world we build always reflects the world we believe we live in. When that vision is lost, even ordinary things stop being made as if they matter, and ugliness can even be deliberate. If beauty is to return, that vision of the world must return first, and that begins with how each of us sees the world we live in.